All right, hey guys, welcome back. This is Aaron Dalzell with the Dalzell Realty Group, and today we're talking escrow. Okay, what is an escrow? What is an escrow officer? What is a title company? What purpose do they serve in the process of buying and selling a home? Well, let's first start with the title company. So here in Southern Nevada, we have numerous title companies to choose from. Sometimes sellers will start some paperwork. Maybe it's a probate, maybe it's a preliminary title report. They'll start some paperwork with a title company already, so they might already have the ball rolling for you and recommend using that title company. However, ultimately it comes down to the buyer and the title company that they choose to handle the escrow process. Now, once a title company has been established, and this will be agreed upon in the purchase contract, and once we decide what title company is being used, the next thing is to understand who your escrow officer is. It might change, even though you're in the same company. You might be using XYZ title, and this time you're using escrow officer A, next time it could be escrow officer B, but within that title company there's multiple escrow officers, obviously. And so really here's how what it boils down to is that once a buyer and a seller agree to and execute a contract, the escrow is the time that the title company uses with the escrow officer to oversee the transaction, to make sure that both parties are completing their terms on the deal. So the escrow, the title company, is a third party that is a neutral in the transaction, right? They're not in favor of one or biased on one or on the side of the seller or on the side of the buyer. Their job is to be a neutral third party to make sure both the buyer and the seller are executing the terms that are laid out in the contract. Okay, so typically your escrows, they could be as quick as 14 days, they could be as long as 60, 90 days. It really just depends on the style of transactions. Where you might see a longer escrow, it might be a probate where, not only do you have to get into a contract, start the escrow process, but you might need a court approval on the sale, which waiting for that court date could take that escrow period a little bit longer. Now, on the flip side, you might have a 10 to 14 day close where the buyer is all cash. Title's going to make sure that they've done all their due diligence. They've done a preliminary title report, making sure that it's free of liens and encumbrances, so that it can be a clear title without any cloud to be passed on to the buyer. So you will see the high end, the low end, and kind of everywhere in between when it comes to the length of the escrow. Now, there will be a main contact person, and we call that person the escrow officer. They're going to be the ones that are reaching out to the buying agent, the listing agent, to making sure that they've got all the documents in order, any addendums, purchase contracts, making sure that all the paperwork is nice and tidy and bundled up so that they can ensure that both sides are fulfilling their end of the agreed upon terms. So with that said, the escrow officer is also going to take care of things like ordering the preliminary title report. Again, putting these documents together, making sure that there's a title policy and insurance on the property during this phase. They're going to make sure that the timetables are being met. They're going to make sure that the deeds are being ordered, things are being recorded with the county. They're going to make sure if there's any liens or anything that's brought to the attention of everybody, so that these things can get handled throughout the escrow process instead of coming down to the last day or two where all of a sudden you're being, well, I didn't know there was a lien or anything like this. So during this escrow process, we get the preliminary report, we're going to go through that, make sure property is free of liens, encumbrances, anything like that, so that we can have a clean bill of title as that passes on from the seller to the buyer. Now, once they get all that taken care of, they've got all the terms executed on both sides, they will also be the ones that take care of transferring of the funds, passing along the deed. They'll make sure everything is in order to send off to the county to be recorded. Now, once they do that, they'll go ahead and let us know that everything in the file has been completed, it's been released to record, which in this case means that both parties, the buyer and the seller, have completed their obligations in the contract. They'll release it to be recorded, and then the county will then email them back once it's been recorded. They'll provide proof of that. We'll be able to pass that along to the buyer with all the documents that come along with purchasing a new home. So when you hear the term escrow, title officer, escrow officer, they're all kind of working together. The title is the company that is overseeing the escrow. The escrow officer is the person that's handling your particular escrow, and you can't have escrow without a contract that's been agreed upon by the buyer and seller. So once you get that done first, we'll enter into that escrow process, and that'll be the process on which we complete this transaction and put the buyer into a new home or help the seller move on to a new chapter of their life. So hope this video has been helpful on understanding the escrow If you ever have any questions, please reach out. My number is always listed below. You can reach out, shoot me a text, email, whatever you need. And you can always look for more videos here and find anything else that you might have some questions on. And if you don't find it here, let me know because we'll get a new one out there for you. All right, have a great day.